Hi, and welcome to Strictly Ball Business, where we strictly talk balls, basketballs in particular. And today we're talking about a couple of different subjects. First, we want to dive into one of our best young cores in the NBA and just talk about where we think they can end up being this season. And secondly, we're going to give a team preview as well heading into this year. And with that, we're going to start out with giving a talk about our young core, the Detroit Pistons. And they have some really exciting players over here, and none other than being led by Cade Cunningham, the number one overall pick. So, Dalton, why don't you lead us in here and talk a little bit about this exciting core and what makes them a fun team to watch in 2021-22?
Oh yeah, for sure. So Cade Cunningham is the biggest part of this young core. He's best potential to be the superstar. In summer league alone, he 18 points per game, 43% from field goal, but 4.34 3-pointers made, 50% from three. I mean 3-pointers made, not 4-pointers. But I mean that's crazy. Like 50%. Obviously that's not going to hold up in the NBA, but it's a great sign to see your number one overall draft pick shooting like that. We didn't really get to see his playmaking in the showed off or templated more in summer league. It was still he only got 2.3 assists, and I mean he did make enough passes and he showed that he's able to. But I think we'll see that fully on the NBA stage. I mean he got 3.5 assists in college. So I'm hoping we'll get to see a lot more of that. He'll have the ball in his hands a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, oh, sorry. I was just about to say absolutely. Cade is going to have the ball in his hands a lot as a freshman coming into the NBA, and having a guy alongside him who can shoot the three well, like Sadiq Bey, I think is going to help. I'm sure you'll get into some of these other players, but I think he'll have a nice time with a surprisingly good supporting cast around him in the NBA.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Uh like I've mentioned before how I just love his pick and roll watching all these highlights. He knows how when to step up. He knows when they don't the defender drops and they in a drop coverage, he can guard that. I mean, he can play that perfectly. He can pull up, he can find the roller, he can find the fader, all of it. He's got all those. He's able to drive down and even see the wings, which is it's something that a lot of people miss out on the pick and roll. So that's great. One his biggest down I saw his biggest negative was his defense. Not that it's terrible. He's able to stay in front of the defender. He has active hands. But he has to be able to help out a lot better. His 3.7 fouls in summer league, which was kind of crazy for a guard. Like this guy, he's kind of swatting everything. Granted, it is summer league, but it's still a template for what's to come in the NBA. So he can't be doing that much, and I don't think he's gonna have to with especially with Isaiah Stewart at playing in the middle. He's not going to be helping out on defense like that as often.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say in terms of like committing fouls in summer league is it does seem like the coaches kind of tell these guys to go out there and try and be aggressive and hack a little bit, because what was it? Wasn't it some different rules in terms of how much it took to get fouled out? Because Nathan Knight had like 7 fouls in a game, and so did Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, I don't think you can foul out in summer league, or I think the only way you can foul out is through text, or something like
Okay.
that. But I think it's a technical past a certain foul. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually,
definitely
I think it's
interesting.
that. I think it's there's a after a certain amount of fouls, it's just text. I don't think you get
Okay.
fouled out in summer league.
Yeah,
Yeah,
otherwise it's like these guys are out here to learn and play. Like we're not going to punish them.
yeah. I mean, people are freaking out. Like Cole Anthony shot like 36% during summer league.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're just some teams don't take it as seriously. Like some of them, they just if they win, they win. It's whatever. But they're just testing out plays they'll never test in the regular season. You know, they're having players do shit that they never do. So when Cole Anthony shot
Yeah.
36%, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Like it's not
They
like he's
probably
gonna
took
get worse from season to season.
they probably took him out of his comfort zone. I know, like with the Timberwolves, they were trying to get Jalen Noel to play more point guard and try and take the ball up in circumstances, and he didn't really look good doing that because his ball handle wasn't as great. Really, a guy like him is better as like a catch and shoot. And I could see with like other players like Cole Anthony where they're maybe being asked to do a little bit too much than they need to be in summer league. But that summer league, we're trying to test things out and see what they can do.
Oh yeah, for sure. And in summer league, also it was shown that Cade's not the best dribbler. I mean, he's for his size, he's really nice. All you could ask for him, but because he's taller and he just can't get into those gaps of the defense that I will talk about with Killian Hayes when I get down to him. But he's just it just takes that out of his game, and it's really nice for a point guard that you don't notice it. But when it comes to like Ben Simmons and Luca, I mean Luca's better at it, but especially not Ben Simmons. But with those taller guards, you don't get that where they can exploit the gaps and get players behind them. Kind of like Trae Young's like super good at, you don't get that with these taller guards.
Yeah, the ball handle is definitely what separates him, and his ability to get past dudes and get creative at the rim as a point guard is going to allow him to be just totally different compared to a lot of guys that we're used to seeing.
Right. And I mean, I could just jump into Killian Hayes. So that's why it's really nice if he can work out to be their shooting guard, because as much as size is great, but Killian Hayes is a shorter guy. He's only 20. And he can get into those gaps. He's shown that he's a really nice playmaker. It's just offensive side of the ball. When coming into the league, everyone was concerned with his shooting, and has not worked out in summer league or actually in the NBA. I mean, last year's stats for the NBA, he was 7 points a game, 35% from field goal, 28% from three, 5.3 assists, but 3.2 turnovers, 2.2 personal fouls. I mean, there's a lot of errors. Obviously, it was a rookie year. He's coming off injury too. He was injured most of the year, but you expected to see that go up in the summer league, and it's not really. It was 6.3, 32% from field goal, 18% from three, 4.7 assists in summer league, but he was up to 4 fouls a game. So you didn't really see that improvement that you would have liked to see a second player in summer league have. So it will be interesting to see where they go with Killian Hayes, but solid ball handle. Actually, he's a decent catch and shoot shooter. That's why I think it's going to help a lot this season that he's going to probably play the 2 guard off of Cade. He's going to get those looks he never got when he was creating for himself. But he is a very smart player. He can find the next guy. He can see lobs. He can thread the needles. Very good passer. But
he's got an opportunity to grow here. I mean, a guy like Cade is going to definitely put him in some better spots to get open shots rather than, banking on a 6'1" guy like Killian to get his own shots. So I think the fit can work out for sure. And in time will only tell there.
Yeah. And next to Cade, he would also, if he works out to be the player they were hoping, even half the player they were hoping to be, it could work out just as fine if Cade turns out to be the person, because if Cade can hold up on defense, because Killian's not good at defense. He's small, poor lateral movement. He's easy to get moved out of the way. He's never going to be that option for you as a primary defender. I don't think he's going to be even a good defender. You're going to have to hide him on defense. But it's really nice if your point guard can guard those guys like Cade, and Cade can handle the taller player, or he can lock up who you need when it comes to, that would be nice. Also, but they're a young team. They'll get defensive players. Like, defensive players are easily traded for or signed. So, but moving into I think their second best young player is Saddiq Bey. So last year in the NBA, 12.2 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 84% from field goal, from free throw, 40% from the field goal, 2.5 3-pointers at 38%. I think he was a solid piece. He was certainly a surprise. I mean, I know going into the draft, I saw him as a first round pick. I was like, okay, I actually thought he would go in the lottery. I can't remember where he went, what kind of draft pick he was, but I
think he was in the 20s. This is definitely a guy that I was hoping the Wolves might take a shot at last year, and kind of in around the same range. They ended up taking Bolmero and McDaniels instead of like just Saddiq Bey. So, but I hate to keep bringing it back to Wolves, but yeah, Saddiq Bey is a great 3-point shooter and lots of promise for this guy.
Oh yeah, and like I said with Killian, he's going to get looks that he never saw when Killian was running the offense like last year. Cade's going to create. He's going to just absorb defenses. So he's going to get tons of good looks, and
Yeah.
Sadiq's actually pretty great. He's able to run the floor on a fast break. He's able to get out to the outlet or get out in front of
Mhm.
defenders. He's
He's
able
pretty
to,
big too.
yeah, he can. My second best thing is he can recognize these mismatches because he's a decent guard post up player for being a rookie last year. So if he can recognize mismatches and get his post fade on, which is it looks good, it just has to come across more frequently.
Sure.
That's going to help out a lot. But really, his bread and butter is the catch and shoot knockdown shooter, and I think that's a role he can fit, and that's a role that is always needed in the NBA. His
For sure.
defense could be better. Um, he was a rookie last year, so I never really judge a a rookie on his defense. It's hard to be a really good defensive rookie unless that's all what you do, you know.
Right.
But
Yeah, no.
I think there's potential where he can be a solid defender, like not a liability at all.
No, I mean, at the very least, I think they got a very solid player here who can maybe turn into like a Michael Bridges type of role for them. And obviously shoots better than Michael, or is probably going to be more consistent. It's just a matter of if he can be a good defender.
Yeah. I mean, if his ceiling's Duncan Robinson, that's a really great fit next to Cade. I think that'll work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the last thing I have on Sadiq is so when he driving inside, he's not the most creative. He'll drive in without a plan, so easily blocked, easy turnover when he goes in. Doesn't necessarily he's able to find them eventually, find wings or whomever's out open but he can't find the roller if you know those plays where they both roll and then they try to pull both defenders and they find it and they reach around. Like Trae Young's really good at those. You'll see him go in the lane and he'll just pass it to Capella in the other lane, not even a lob. Those he doesn't find as fast, but
It's a little dink around sort of dump pass.
yeah, but that'll be corrected. It just takes a decent coach and some more playing time where he either just doesn't drive in without a plan or just doesn't drive in as frequently. So,
Yep.
but
Yep.
my
No,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, really just depending on this Pistons team, a lot of their growth is going to be on their coaching and being able to develop these guys because it seems like they just have a lot of raw talent. And, you got to be able to hone that with good coaching. I like Dwayne Casey. He very underrated in terms of where that Toronto Raptors team is at now in helping build that. So I have high hopes for the Detroit Pistons.
Oh yeah. My last young core, 20-year-old Isaiah Stewart. Now he really came out in his own when what was his name?
Oh,
The center? Oh yeah.
who could it be?
What's that guy? Plumley. I forgot his first name.
Mason.
Mason Plumley. When he went out for injury for like a month or two, Isaiah stepped up and he actually did really well, rebounding all the minutes he was given. He showed that he's not a shot blocker, he's not a interior, but I mean he showed that he has the potential. He can figure out
Mhm.
defensive. Like when Bam Adebayo first started, I think he averaged 0.9 blocks the first two seasons. And look at him now; he's a great inside defender. And Isaiah Stewart has 1.3 blocks, 7.9 points per game, 6.7 rebounds. He showed that he could rebound. He had a few 19, 16 rebound games in that stretch of time. 69% from field goal. He can shoot. He's 33% with 0.3 3-pointers made. It looks terrible. His shot doesn't look good at all. So I don't see that as a future avenue. But I mean, even if he can hit mid-range shots, that's good enough in the NBA today.
You're right. I mean, I think he's got some potential and being able to at least try a 3-point shot in his rookie season as a big man is plenty enough for me to see. And I think he can continue to grow and be a solid part of that team as well.
Oh yeah, but his real role is going to be that defensive guy that can hold it down. Super athletic. He can catch those lobs. Like he's going to love having Cade as a teammate. That's going to work out a lot better for him. But like I said, he showed the ability to block. He had 2.7 fouls in only 21 minutes per game. That's like Duncan Robinson, where not Duncan Robinson, not at all like Duncan Robinson. Mitchell Robinson,
David Robinson.
not
Oh,
the
man.
Mitchell,
Not the.
not as good. No, Mitchell
Not
Robinson.
I thought that's what you were going for. I thought you were saying it was all time great.
Oh no.
That's
No,
funny.
Mitchell Robinson has that same issue. He's a very good shot blocker, but he just can't stay on the floor. He gets fouled too. He goes for the shots too much, like Hassan Whiteside when he first started with that Heat. Like he was getting like close to 4 blocks a game, but he was constantly fouling and it wasn't good. Like they're like, oh, it was great when he was on the floor, but he could only be on the floor for like 15 minutes before he like fouled
Yeah.
out. So
Yep. Yeah, you got to figure out how to not flail around everywhere. You got
right.
to go straight up. Guys like Nerlens Noel have been able to figure it out after not being, paid early on because he couldn't do it. So I have faith that guys like him can figure it out as well.
Yeah. And one of my favorite stats of Isaiah Stewart's is about 1/3 of his rebounds are offensive rebounds, and that's really nice. I mean, if he averages over 2 with like 6 rebounds a game, that's kind of crazy. So once he
Yeah.
gets that starting role, which is the main reason they moved Plumlee, he's going to get a lot of time, and he's going to be able to catch those offensive boards and leak out to shooters because they got shooters on this team or people willing to shoot, even if that is.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Lots of opportunity to grow on this team. Guys who are going to find their own. And, we had a couple of breakout players this year. Who's to say we won't have a couple more coming into this next season?
that's right. And I mean, outlook on this team, you'd like to think a team that gets the number 1 pick, could he drag them to a playoff berth? Doubt, probably, definitely not. I think they're still
Too
going to be low.
early. I
Yeah,
mean, there's just too many. There's too many good players in the NBA.
yeah, and that's not even what they're looking for. They're not looking for a playoff spot right now. They're looking to see how their players do.
And
They want them
yeah,
to grow.
honestly, they could use another top pick next year. So
Yeah, Jaden Hardy as a 2 would look great. He's looking good. I mean, even Chet. If Isaiah Stewart doesn't work out this season, Chet's a great option. There's tons of guys in the next draft that'll fit
yeah,
this Pistons team.
when you're in a position like the Pistons, you're just looking to grab talent wherever you can. This year, they're hoping their talent gets better, but they need to grab even more beyond that. So yeah, I think they've got a great outlook. I think them being in the East, maybe their rebuild is accelerated at some point, especially with having the number 1 pick. But I would say 2023, probably looking at a playoff team.
Yeah, I'd say that 23 is a good at the earliest. That's when they should even expect to hit the playoffs. They should be. The point of a rebuild is to get as not just 1 star. You got to get those 2 stars. Like the Bucks got 2 stars out of their draft, and that's all they needed. Mavs kind of hurried it along because they thought Kristaps was the answer, and
Yeah.
now they're just struggling to find that second talent.
Yeah, exactly. You're seeing that same thing with the Pelicans and definitely with the Mavs. And then you end up, sacrificing other parts of your team just to find that other second star. And you're going to see with the Mavericks and with the Pelicans, they're going to be both giving up picks to try and get that second star in, which it's not really an ideal situation to be in. Ideally, you would have just drafted that guy, but patience is difficult when maybe somebody's pushing buttons in the back scenes as well.